The word valedictorian comes from the Latin meaning vale, goodbye, and dicere, word or speech. It means the final word or farewell speech. It is an honor to introduce this year's valedictorian. Hardworking and always willing to apply his best, this graduate has earned the highest GPA in his senior class with a 97.88% average. I am pleased to welcome to the stage to offer our valedictory address, Jaden Lukose.
Thank you, Mr. Driver. Seniors, wow, what a journey it's been. After 7 years at Northridge, I stand here overflowing with gratitude. Northridge has shaped me in more ways than I can count, and I'm sure I'm not alone in feeling that. But first, I want to thank my parents. Mom, without your very intentional efforts in forming my mind and my soul, the quality time you spent with me, your passion for goodness, and the countless ways you show your love, I would not be standing here today. And Dad, you're exactly the kind of man I want to become. Thank you for continually reminding me that my accomplishments are only possible through God's help. I cannot thank you enough for the sacrifices you make for our family, especially to send us to Northridge. Joa, Siona, Sean, Jayla, Sarai, and the baby I can't wait to meet. You've brought me so much joy and helped me to realize my capacity to love. I'm so honored to be your older brother. To my grandparents who helped raise me, and to the rest of my family, thank you for your love and support. To the teachers and faculty, both in and out of the classroom, you formed my classmates and I into the men we are today. Your dedication towards us, your examples of virtue and strength, have helped us become better versions of ourselves. Thank you. And to my fellow students, thank you for the memories. Thank you for your friendship, your encouragement, and your fun, loving joy. Our years here have been filled with laughter, learning, and a brotherhood I will never forget. Now let's take a moment to reflect on what we've accomplished this year. This is the first graduation ceremony, with this white banner looming over us, representing our first state championship. We've made strides in athletics, academics, math team, quiz bowl, and many more activities. We managed to drive a car into the atrium and park a boat outside of the school doors for our senior prank. And we've even invented a new drug, Northridginal. But in all seriousness, the reason why our class was able to accomplish so much is because our class is full of leaders. Leaders who understand the many virtues that Northridge has taught us. And one of these values is the importance of freedom. We have learned that freedom is not being able to choose what we want whenever we want, but rather the ability to do what we ought to do. Jacques Philippe, in his book, Interior Freedom, which we seniors read in our theology class, said, "Our most fundamental aspiration is for happiness, and we sense that there is no happiness without love, and no love without freedom." So in this way, Northridge teaches us to use our freedom in its proper sense, so that we may choose to be happy. But then we must ask ourselves, what is true happiness? From what I've gathered from my experience at Northridge, along with a quote that has been hung up in my house for as long as I can remember, I've understood that there are 6 pillars surrounding true happiness, and they are confidence in God, living with a clean conscience, family, solidarity, deep friendships, humble service towards others, and the satisfaction of a job well done. If I had to boil down my whole Northridge experience to one idea, it's this. Northridge provides a framework for how to pursue a life full of true happiness and that you are truly proud of living. Let's think about the culture we've built based on these virtues. Take the idea of friendships. I remember when our whole class went whitewater rafting in North Carolina for our junior trip. A bunch of us had pulled in our boats to a checkpoint when all of a sudden, someone caught sight of one of our classmates, Anthony, who had fallen out of his boat and had his arms flailing in the air while shouting for help. At first, we all thought he was joking, but then we realized that he actually couldn't reach the shore on his own. So we linked arms to make a human chain, and as we slowly made our way into the middle of the river toward Anthony, who reached out and grabbed onto Miguel's leg at the end of the chain so that we could pull him safely to shore. Experiences like this human chain adventure reinforces the fact that we have formed deep friendships with one another. And as one of our classmates famously said, at the end of the day, it's all about the brotherhood. This idea of deep friendship is closely related to the pillar of family solidarity. Mother Teresa, when asked what could be done to promote world peace, responded, "Go home and love your family." For it is through our personal relationships, especially with those closest to us, that we make our greatest impacts in our world. True change begins with love, real personal love, in the relationships that are right in front of us. We can see this in our faculty as well. Every once in a while, us students get to witness Mr. Reed, Mr. Driver, Coach Rob, and the other teachers bringing their young families to Mass, showing us great examples of fatherhood, and giving us a glimpse of what our futures might look like. And the precious thing about Northridge is the fact that we have optional daily Mass integrated into our school day. I'm sure we'll never forget Father Leo's particular way of reciting the consecration prayers at Mass very slowly and with the utmost reverence, making it very clear that Christ is present. And we'll never forget how he relates our faith to ordinary things, such as two men and a truck. But through our spiritual formation, including Holy Mass and confession, we've developed the pillars of true confidence in God and the gift of living with a clear conscience. Service, another pillar of happiness, plays a huge role in our Northridge experience as well. I remember sitting down in front of an elderly man during one of our nursing home visits with Service Club. I was astounded by the fact that he had so much to say. Within a matter of minutes, he had cried, laughed, and looked at me with such gratitude for just listening. As Mr. Fagan mentioned earlier, Service Club also raised thousands of dollars for charity, which is wonderful. But I'm sure that we students would agree that the most rewarding acts of service were these type of simple personal encounters. The last pillar involves finding satisfaction in work well done. Northridge has taught us to work diligently and to put our best efforts forward. The word diligence comes from the Latin word diligere, which means to love. So we understand that working well is an expression of love that leads us to happiness. We will always know that these 6 pillars are the true riches in life, even if we're broke. We students have received so much from Northridge, and to whom much is given, much is expected. We are called to continue forming ourselves in the way we've been taught here at Northridge, and we are also called to bring these values to others. Tertullian, an early church father, once wrote that the pagans looked at the early Christians and said, "See how they love one another, how they are even ready to die for one another." We may not be asked to die for each other, but we are called to live for one another with that same radical self-giving love. So let's be bold, be daring, go tackle the world with zeal, and remember that it is through our personal relationships that we can bring the true happiness that we found through what we've learned here at Northridge. And just like when we saved Antony in North Carolina, let's make sure that the human chain we have as a class stays unbroken. And let's strive to create new human chains wherever we go. If we do this, I assure you, we will live a life that we can be truly proud of. A life of success, of meaning, of fulfillment, and of deep, lasting joy. Don't forget, we're a brotherhood and a family. Congratulations, class of 2025. Let's go change the world.